Lord, we give you thanks for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. We thank you for all the learning, the skills, and the hard work of these students who have dedicated their lives to serving those who have died and their families. We thank you for the faculty and staff, preceptors who have taught and guided these students. May we all walk safely along the pathways of our dreams, and may your gentle hand guide the decisions and actions that we make. May our hearts and lives always reflect your love and truth, and may hope be a light that we carry with us into each new day. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold each of you in the palm of his hand. Amen.
Hello everyone, and thank you all for coming to today's ceremony. This is the event that myself and my fellow colleagues have worked towards for the past 2 years or more, and having such overwhelming support from all of you here speaks volumes. Though I will not lie and say that it was easy to get here. For most, college is a difficult experience, though us, as a part of the 4C's funeral service program, have not only had a challenging journey, but an incredibly unique one. I am proud to say that I have been a part of this and that we have stuck through it together. Our shared experiences have helped us develop the community that we will have for life in this industry. And we all became a part of it for our own reasons. I know everyone with me is rather familiar with the "what in the world made you want to do that" questions, or the comments of, "Oh, that's nice." Personally, I chose this path for the betterment of others. The betterment of their healing is important to me, and I truly strive to leave them feeling a little bit lighter. I only hope that they can feel more at ease as their loved one is put to rest as their life story has come to an end. Each one of them is different and fascinating. I do not know these stories behind various names, tattoos, scars, birthmarks, or even amputations and birth defects the decedent may have. But I do know that if given the honor from the family, I would be ecstatic to help them tell it. 4Cs has given me the resources to do that, and I will forever be grateful for the opportunities and doors that have been given and opened to me. Though, as I said previously, it was not easy. We stand here today to reap the benefits of our back-breaking academic labor. Don't even get me started on Dan Shea's perfectly calculated board competency class. When I eventually return to school, and if I ever see an oval skitter test again, I'll know who they got it from. But I will miss the experience of learning here, of creating memories that will last a lifetime with connections that I'll keep for just as long. The grieving journey of moving on from this chapter of life will be an interesting one. Though during this said chapter, being surrounded by grief and learning the ins and outs of it, I've developed a new perspective on it that I wish I had learned sooner. Grief is, unfortunately and unfairly, the price we pay for love. The strength of your grief is only a reflection of the love you held. There are ups and downs in every journey, and I certainly have had my own. I've had my loves and hates throughout these 2 years. I've loved meeting Sayward's Muppets and hearing Ranger, self-proclaimed emotional support dog during finals week, courtesy of Dan Shea, trot into the room, pretending to care about those finals when all he really wanted was one of my chips from the vending machines. And yes, he got one every time. And while I'm not particularly fond of having to admit this, the difficulty of this program has been beneficial. This industry is certainly not for the weak, and today marks our true beginning as funeral service professionals. Completing this education has laid a solid foundation for us to start building our future funeral homes off of. It was certainly laid with blood, sweat, and tears, but I believe that it only adds to the strength. I will keep my doors open for my colleagues with me, as I know they will do for me. This is a small industry, and the community I mentioned that we had created will keep one another afloat. Everyone knows everyone, and communication is key. Word of mouth is everything for a funeral director. So if I happen to hear any of your names arise in conversation, or even just in passing, I'll be sure to put a good word in. With all that being said, the only thing I truly have left is thank you. To all that have gathered here, thank you for your time to help us honor and celebrate this monumental achievement. To my classmates, thank you for embarking on this journey and sticking through it to the end together. I am proud of each and every one of us. To my professors, thank you for your vital knowledge and your wisdom. Your constant support and your encouragement as you pushed me beyond what I thought I was capable of, both academically and mentally, has left a lasting impression that I will not soon forget. It has truly meant the world to me. So with that, I say we get on with it, and all that's left is national and state exams. Good luck, everyone.
We've had quite the year, guys. First of all, the over-skidder exam is classic, okay? Classic. You learn so much. I'm going to make it part of my final next time.
That would be awful.
It would be awesome. All right. Before I get started with the awards, I want to give due credit where it's deserved. First of all, I know we already left, but having a bagpiper here just makes this ceremony, brings us in, gets us in the right mood, so we want to be thankful for that. Having a pianist in our hallway that's been entertaining you between ceremonies, and the numerous volunteers it takes to make this happen. There are 8 cameras in this room, by the way, or actually 9, sorry, Bruce. But yes, we have 9 cameras in this room right now, and that requires people and a lot of effort to make this happen so that these graduates have a memory for years to come. And on that point, I want to point out Bruce Likely from TributeCast in the corner over there. This ceremony is being broadcast live through TributeCast, so if anybody missed it, and that's also how we got our feed for those so that you could see what was taking place outside. And of course, Nick up in our AV booth, making everything happen up there. Now, the biggest shout out, however, goes to our very own, where is she? Oh, Laura. So our very own Laura Clark-Rare is Laura put this together. Laura's the one that's the mastermind between making all the logistics happen today, really making this, all the pieces come together so that we have a good ceremony. She has everything, every detail, every one of these seats is labeled for those that didn't see, and every little nit and pick. She read through every piece that we were doing and made sure there was symbolicness behind everything we did represented in this room. So, huge shout out, and we're very thankful for everything that she does, for not just this ceremony, but for the Pi Sigma ceremony that we had take place earlier in the day. This year has been, just for those that don't know, the next building over is where our suite actually lies. We're in the backside of the Kelly Gymnasium, and after the ceremony, I encourage family, friends, by all means, come join us over there, see where your loved ones, where your students have been learning for at least the last year. They did start on the other side of the campus. We're here on a handshake. President John Cox literally shook hands with President Barry Brown at Monida and brought us down here. There was no paperwork to my knowledge, right? There's no paperwork saying we're here. We are literally here on a golden handshake. And then give a huge shout out to Fred Clark, because when John said, hey, my program needs a house, we came here, okay? And not just did we come here, when we came from the other side, he says, hey, I'm gonna give you a better location, and this is custom built. So these students got to spend the last year in a very well outfit location. Now, I'm a numbers guy. So numbers can tell an amazing story. And in front of you sits 14 students. When the average 14 students started, there was about 90 applications for this class. About 60-something of them actually registered for class, or got accepted. Okay, those that, by the way, didn't get accepted is because they didn't get their high school transcript in to admissions. It really is that simple. So it shows what little effort can put you into classes. And out of those, they registered, and in front of you, we sit 14 students, okay? Do the math, okay? Program is not easy. So out of that, sits 14 students that have gone through the rigor. They did the practical skills, they did the didactic skills to sit in front of you today. Now, sorry. These elite mastered the oval skidder exam and the mental, you didn't mention the mental flexibility. You guys love that one too. All right, mental flexibility exercise as well. But seriously, I'm proud of you folks for everything you've accomplished. You're an amazing group of individuals that are graduating today. I'm going to miss you. And I really wish you luck in this profession, personally and professionally. All right, now on to the awards. I really enjoyed spending time in Sayward's restorative art class this semester, just because the talent that sits in front of you is absolutely amazing, and being able to see what these students are worth professionally and what they can do and what they can accomplish. You guys truly raised the bar. You really did. Okay, you truly, and Sayward's acknowledging right now, you truly raised the bar on this one. I want to give a shout out, not an award, but I want to give a shout out to Sarah Terwillinger. She used tattoo skins and dyed them so that these students could practice for years to come, could practice cosmetic application for discolorations, post-mortem discolorations and things like that. So that was a huge, and one, just give a shout out and a thank you for that, that she really did. It really is hard, and not to get into the professional nit and grit, but it really is hard when we're dealing with discoloration post-mortem or pathologies, things like that happen. That's not what you want to see in a casket. So thankful to Sarah we're able to teach these students properly in order to do that. So very grateful to her talents. All right. For our first award, I call Professor Emeritus Maria Vitagliano forward. The Maria Vitagliano Award is presented to the funeral service student who demonstrated academic excellence in restorative art and skillful physiognomy and artistry of their armature. For those who don't know, our students work, it's kind of their capstone project in the restorative art class. Consider restorative art like embalming 3. And the capstone, the end project, is a wax head, and for this, they're recreating parts. Now, in this case, they're recreating the entire head. They got to do all the features. But in real life, you know, maybe an accident where you lost an ear, or you've lost hair, or you've, need a body part. So in this case, they're doing all of it in order to master the skills so that they can do that when that time comes. All right. So if we, every year it's difficult for Maria to determine who will get her namesake award. This year was exceptionally difficult with the amount of talent we witnessed. If you placed many of these heads that we saw this year up against any prior year individually on their own, any one of these heads would have won hand down, just because, again, we raised the bar. So I've put up on the slide here, we've put up the 6 heads. These are not all the heads, okay, but we did put up 6 of the heads that we managed to narrow this down to. Again, Maria had to first narrow it down to 6 heads on the table, and then said, okay, out of these, who is getting the namesake award? So again, you can see the masterful artistry that takes place there. One of these we realized was actually eligible for next year's award, so that brought that down to 5. That made it a little easier on us. And one of the biggest factors in narrowing that down beyond that was looking at lifelike appearance. If we were to take this and put these heads into a casket, would you recognize that that was the decedent, or would you think it's a wax sculpture? Pores, wrinkles, things like that. The finest details make the biggest difference in what was determined. And after a difficult decision, we have 2 winners. The recipients. Yep. The recipients of the Maria Vitagliano Award are Lily Provo and Sarah Terwillinger. All right. So we'll do this one at a time. We'll go in order that I put them up there. Lily, please come forward and receive your award. Again, these students truly raised the bar this year, so this was a very hard decision. All right. Sarah, please come forward and receive your award.
I must say that the class was excellent this year. So many heads were. It was difficult to make a decision this year. So many excellent heads were made this year, and it is a pleasure to work with the students in the funeral service program. It is an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Maria, too. For those that don't know, so Maria she was the retired dean of the design school at Mount Ida College, where our program came from, and Professor Emeritus was the title I used. Maria actually was helping these students with WEX heads when I was a student. Okay, she was still employed. She was not retired at that time. Anybody trying to do the math, but I believe I may have been the first class Maria helped with. I think I was. I think it may have been the first one, and she helped Sayward, and yeah. So we've all gone through Maria. So it's a blessing that even though we moved down, Maria came with us. So it's been a blessing to have her. Thank you. For our next award, I call Gretchen Silva forward to present the Mu Sigma Alpha Award. The Mu Sigma Alpha Award is presented to the top 10% of the graduating funeral service students who have demonstrated high academic achievement through diligence and perseverance. This award is conferred by the National Associated Colleges of Mortuary Science, which our college and our program are a member of. And this year's recipient is Robert Driscoll. I call Jack Cleese forward to present the Dodge Award. All right. The Dodge Award is presented to the funeral service student who demonstrates academic excellence, exemplification of worthy character traits, and promise of outstanding contribution to the funeral service profession. The award honors the memory of Asa Johnson Dodge, founder of the New England Institute. For those that don't know, we are the Dodge School. Okay. Yeah. So, give you a brief history. In 1907, Asa Johnson Dodge started the New England Institute. We are the successor of that. So it went from a house in West Roxbury to Kenmore Square, where that Citgo sign sits on top of the building. That was our building. And then we moved from that building in 1989 to Mount Ida, and then in 2018, thanks to President John Cox, we are now here. So we are, if you follow the lineage, we are one of the oldest embalming schools in the country. So at that time, with this, it's a great honor to have Jack Cleese is the local rep for the Dodge Chemical Company. The students are truly the heart of this program. The students are fundamental in running the orientation, open houses, and build camaraderie and host student events through the Future Morticians Club. This student opened professional doors to help fellow students in both the embalming clinical and funeral directing practicum, and has always been there for fellow classmates, faculty, staff, and alike. This year's Dodge Award recipient is Seamus Slinger. I now invite Stephen Gemelli, Vice President of the Massachusetts Funeral Directors Association, to present the MFDA Past President's Award.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm here representing Maggie McNally, who is our current president, who was not able to join us today, but I'd simply like to say this is probably the greatest profession in the world. Jack Cleese and I graduated from NEI back before there was color photography, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful profession. I wish you all the best of luck. This award is presented to you for your commitment to funeral service education, dedication, professionalism, enthusiasm, and willingness to collaborate with others. It is our hope at the Massachusetts Funeral Directors Association that you may be someone who participates in future association meetings and becomes part of our board of directors, and we only wish you the very, very best. This award is presented to Nicole Plaisted.
First off, I would like to give my heartfelt congratulations to the entirety of the graduating class of 2025. Every single one of you has decided to walk down the path of funeral service, and I, as well as the future families that you will serve, thank you for choosing this noble profession. While the road leading here certainly has not been an easy one, I believe that your dedication to your work is a testament to the level of service that you provide to each and every family that walks through your door. During the course of my schooling, I feel as if I've gotten to know each and every one of you, at least in some fashion. And I know for a fact that each and every one of you has the compassion and mental fortitude to excel in aiding families in their time of grief. Whether it be by giving them the service that they dreamed of, or something as simple as a shoulder to cry on, I know that you will be a comforting presence for them. I would also like to thank all of the faculty that has aided us in reaching this point, as we stand on the stage that marks our transition into fully fledged funeral practitioners. Dan, Gretchen, Sayward, Autumn, Chase, and Laura, thank you for being diligent in your tutelage and for pushing us to be the best that we can be. In my closing remarks, I would just like to give you a promise that I hope you will all vow to keep with me. I promise to give each and every family that comes to me seeking help my complete devotion, and to make sure that they feel sheltered from their grief and pain that they feel in their time of need. I vow to ease their pain for even just a second, and to treasure their trust in me, to aid them in their time of need. I would once again like to give my heartfelt congratulations to everyone, and my forever thanks to the staff that has aided each and every one of us so that we could reach this special moment. I now invite Professor Shea, Professor Miraso, Sayward, and Laura forward for presentation of the funeral service bid.
Dolly Ray Antoine. Thomas Bastarash, who could not join us today. Christopher Cook, who also could not join us today. Matthew Crump. Robert Driscoll. Ashley Irwin. Jillian Kelleher. Aviv Lustgarten. Gianna Apadiziano. Peyton O'Connor. Nicole Plastid. Lily Provo. Seamus Slinger. And Sarah Terwilliger. I ask at this time that we ask all the graduates to please stand. And I also invite any licensees joining us today to also please stand to join our graduates in reciting the final care oath. Renewing your vows and commitment to our sacred profession, the oath can be found on page 2 of your program. Raise your right hand, right? Raise your right hand. We're going to say it together, okay? I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred, that I shall be loyal to my profession and just and generous to its members, that I shall lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be for the benefit and comfort of those bereaved, that I shall abstain from every voluntary act of misconduct or corruption, that I shall obey the civil laws, that I shall not divulge professional confidences, and that I shall be faithful to those who have placed their trust in me. While I continue to keep this oath inviolate, may it be granted to me to enjoy honor in my life and in my profession, and may I be respected by people for all time. At this time, I call President John Cox to the podium to give the presidential address to the graduates.
Well, I'm not sure about an address, but let me just be brief here. You know, back in 2018, when Mount Ida was having its issues and we showed up on the campus and we had a lengthy discussion with Professor Shea, and we saw many faculty members with tears in their eyes, we had no idea how this would turn out. When we made the commitment, not knowing where we would build out the program, how we would move forward, not knowing what the requirements were to make this all possible, and discovering the American Board of Funeral Service Education. But never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that what we have here today would be how it would turn out. We have achieved greatness in terms of the faculty that we have brought together to make this program move forward, and we have the commitment of the students coming from across the broad community, committed to a profession of caring, a profession of supporting our families, our community, and really bringing this symphony all together in the end to completion, which we've talked about in the past. Sometimes we never get to that point. But I'm very proud of all of our graduates for staying with the program, succeeding, and moving forward into the profession. And I'm equally proud of our faculty and staff that continue to do the work to carry the profession forward and to move the college ahead. So thank you all. I wish you all the best in the years to come, and do keep us informed of how things are going, because we want to hear your experience, we want to learn from it, and we want to continue to build off your experience with our program. Thank you.
All right, I will conclude. Just to point out, these plaques here are the Dodge Award and the Maria Vitagliano Award. These do hang in our hallway. outside of our suite so that their names are kind of permanently engraved in the history of this program. At this time, I will ask all of the graduates and the platform party to gather in front of the room, but let's squish as much as we possibly can because marketing's going to be taking a photo. That's the graduate photo, and there's a lot of us, so we want to all fit and make Jonathan happy. So do this by Jonathan's direction. He'll make sure that you all fit.